Hey guys, this is Alex from Love Tennis, and this is a follow-up video to a previous one that I did about Dominic Thiem and Serena Williams situation and the argument they had about the press conference. Now in my previous video I discussed a little bit about what happened and how Dominic felt, how frustrated it was, and gave you my own reaction about what I thought should have happened and how I thought that Serena Williams should have handled it. Now since then, I had many of you write in, I've had loads of comments, some positive, some negative. Some of you were really upset at my comments, some of you were agreeing with me. If you haven't seen that video, you can go back and have a look at that video right now. You can click the card above. Anyway, we've had some more news come in. We have an interview from Dominic Thiem. I'll tell you a little bit about what he said in his interview today about the situation. We have reactions from Pat Cash, former Wimbledon winner. We have a reaction from Boris Becker. We have a reaction from John McEnroe. And actually we have one reaction, one video where it actually frustrated me so much, it angered me so much to watch that video that I have to share it with you and see what you guys think. Now this video is of Whoopi Goldberg. She's a host of the ABC network show The View in America. Now she's reacted to the whole situation, so have a look at the video and let me know what you think.
So this weekend, Serena Williams was sent home from the French Open after surprising upset, and she wanted to get her press conference over as soon as possible and get out of there because she did not win. I would feel the same way.
Yeah.
So they ended the press conference of men's player Dominic Thiem early to accommodate her, but he wasn't happy apparently and said it shows that Serena has a bad personality. Listen, man. Don't nobody know who you are.
Yeah.
What? Nobody knows who you are? Dominic Thiem, world number 4, runner-up at French Open last year. We won 2 big tournaments this year, Indian Wells and Barcelona. World number 4, higher ranked than Serena at the moment. The up-and-coming player who's probably going to be world number 1 one day. Nobody knows who you are. That just... oh, that makes me so angry. Anyway, she continues.
You may be big in the tennis world, but this is a big deal that she was out this early. People want to know what's happening, how's she doing, and I don't actually think she wanted to talk to anybody about losing. Oh, yes, let's talk about my loss so early in the French Open. I don't think that was her plan. Don't blame her.
Yeah.
Stop being a bonehead. Don't blame her.
Also, listen, it wasn't her fault.
No.
She didn't ask for him to be moved. She said, put me in the little room, put me in a smaller room, let me just get over this.
Get this
Let me
over,
get this done with. And they decided to move him to let the queen come in, okay?
Yes.
Just have a little self-awareness here. Serena Williams is right now in a class by her own, and maybe one day you'll be the king of tennis, but right now, we don't know who you are.
Yeah, and I was exactly. I was actually surprised that Roger Federer actually came out and also it was sort of defending Thiem's position and said, you know, this is unfair.
He should know better.
He should know better. Serena is the queen. And the queen.
Okay, so she's saying it wasn't her plan to do an interview so early about a loss. I'm sorry, all players have to do interviews about their losses. That's just what happens. It's the rules. You have to go into a press conference and you have to do it. I'm sorry, that's just the way it works. And then saying that, okay, we don't know who you are, like the queen of tennis has to have the final say. We'll only listen to you when you've earned your stripes. I'm sorry, that's equivalent of me saying, I'm sorry, we're not going to listen to you, Whoopi Goldberg, until you're Oprah Winfrey. It just doesn't work like that. And for me, that's actually quite disrespectful towards Dominic Thiem, and I think they just absolutely have no clue about what they're talking about. But next, we actually have someone within their team, another commentator, who shares a different view. Finally, someone actually shares a different view. Let's hear it.
I lost.
I disagree with you guys on
What?
I mean, listen, I like Serena Williams. She's a phenomenal player, historic, but I also think how you lose says a lot about you. And I just don't think, this is not the first time where she's kind of been a little bit of a diva when she's lost.
But no, this has nothing to do with her.
No, I know, but if she was saying, like, I just want to get it over with, and, you know, because a lot of times, like in the NBA, you have to talk at a conference after,
Yes,
right? So she
everywhere.
had to do it.
Yeah.
I just kind of feel like the other guy, he won. He actually won his match, and so whoever made the decision, it wasn't a good look all the way around.
Right, but
I just don't.
Don't put it on Serena.
Well, I mean,
don't put it on Serena.
She could have said, "Well, wait a minute, you know, we're going to interrupt this," or no, she knows who she is. She was like, "Well, I'm just going to do it and get it
Show
over
me
with."
a good loser, and I'll show you somebody
There
that
are a
loses
lot of
too
people.
much.
There are a lot of people who lose with grace. Wait.
So there, Tara Setmeyer, another commentator for the ABC network, she shares a different view. So she discusses Serena Williams' history, where she has been acting like a diva. She has had meltdowns on the court. She hasn't always acted professionally. She likes to be a little bit of a drama queen, and perhaps this is the reason why we're judging her in this way, because of the past and the way that she has acted recently, and that's why I guess her actions are making us form an opinion of her, and perhaps a wrong one in this case. I'm just not sure, unless we were there, unless we'd have an actual statement from her to explain what happened. At the moment we're just getting news from different sources and we're making up our own opinion. Now don't get me wrong, I'm not a Serena Williams hater. I actually really respect her, and I think she's done amazing for the game. I think what she's achieved is incredible. It's like what most players only dream of. She's one of the world's greats. But what I don't like is if someone acts disrespectful towards another player. She has done that to Osaka before, and now I thought that she was doing it to Thiem. Now Thiem has taken this unbelievably well. Yes, he reacted in the press conference at the time, but since then he's tried to make things okay, and he's almost trying to diffuse the situation. Now in his recent interview, which is done today, he actually talks about his admiration for Serena Williams. He said he thinks that she's done incredible things for tennis, that he's not holding anything against her, that he actually feels sorry for her, the fact that all of this is now happening, crashing down on her. And he actually mentions that he wouldn't even mind playing mixed doubles with her at Wimbledon one day. Now this is him making that first step towards it. I guess he wants to diffuse the situation. He's just being a nice guy. I respect that. I really like that about him. And I think perhaps both of the sides, perhaps the media has blown it out of proportion, perhaps even me in my previous video have blown it out of proportion just because of the news that we were given. Now what actually happened? Now what we hear is that at the time Serena came in because she lost. She wanted to get her interview done quickly and she wanted to get out of there, understandably. She came in and she said, look, you know what, I want to get it done and I want to go into the smaller room if the bigger room is not available. I guess Thiem was in the big room at the time. Now the organisers told her, no, don't worry, we're going to move the player that's inside there and we're going to make room for you. And apparently to that she reacted, saying that that's rude. Now, at this point, I guess she had a choice. She had a choice to wait and delay the organisers and say, no, don't move that player out, or to go ahead with the organisers' decision. And of course, it is the organisers' decision, but perhaps she could have stopped them and said, no, that is rude. I'm not going to go ahead with it. I'd like to wait and finish until that player finishes. But she didn't do that. We don't know whether it's because the organisers have already done it and she just went along with it, or she just simply was so frustrated after her match that she just wanted to get out of there and she actually didn't think about it. And only now, when Thiem has reacted this way, she probably feels bad as well about the whole situation. I'm sure the organisers of the tournament feel bad too. And I know they've issued an apology, an official apology to Dominic Thiem, to say sorry about what happened. It was an organizational mistake. Now, let's hear from Boris Becker and let's see what he has to say.
I just finally wanted to ask you a little bit about Dominic Thiem. He obviously had that incident that everyone's talking with being booted out of the press conference room for Serena Williams. For me, it was very interesting seeing him expressing emotion and a bit of frustration. Is that a good sign for Dominic Thiem?
I'm in favor of Domi. He is Roland Garros finalist. He comes across as a man now. He's maturing. He's one of the main players on the men's tour, and if he's giving an interview and his press conference isn't finished, everybody else has to wait, including Serena Williams. And I think it was unfortunate for the organizers to put both players in a situation like this. They should know that Dominic Thiem is having a press conference, and when he's finished, it's Serena's turn. It was awkward for the players, but it was a misorganization.
Now there, Boris Becker understandably defends Dominic Thiem and his actions. He agrees with the outbursts because, you know what, Dominic Thiem is one of the best players in the world. He is having his interview, and he was being treated unfairly, whether it was by Serena or the organisers. Now, interestingly enough, he talks about the organisers being in the wrong here, and I think it's starting to emerge that actually perhaps it's more the organisers' fault than Serena's fault, so they took it in their own hands to make it happen, and this is well shown in the reactions of the players and the commentators on site. Now let's hear from Pat Cash and what he has to say.
On him.
Yeah?
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. I think it's everybody's screwed up there. Dominic is a, you know, he's not some junior that's come in or some unknown qualifier. He's a guy who got to the French Open final last year. He got the semi-final the year before. He's top 10. He's one of the favourites here. And for Serena just to say, I'm going in there, but no matter what, whether it's the organisers or what, but either way, it was really wrong. Really disrespectful. I mean, I think it's boiling over too often. This I don't know.
Well, it's the fear factor, isn't it? It's the fact that they're frightened that had she not done the press conference straight away, that she might leave the site and then the press and the world's media won't get those quotes that they want to send out. And it's a question of, who is in charge here? And it's unbelievably disrespectful to a man that's still in the draw. And for whatever reason, she should have been made to wait an extra 5 minutes until he'd finished. And as Alex Corretja pointed out yesterday, had it been a role reversal, there would have been absolute uproar. I mean, it's just appalling, I think, and I think he is owed an apology, to be honest with you. I really do.
Now there, a similar story. Pat Cash also agreeing that this shouldn't have happened, and agrees with Thiem, but agrees that this is could also be an organizational error. So it's really starting to become apparent that perhaps we've reported on this news without knowing all the facts. And now we're seeing that actually maybe there's a little bit less to it, and maybe Serena wasn't quite as in the wrong as we once originally thought. Lastly, let's hear from John McEnroe. Now, I really respect John McEnroe and his views. He's always been quite outspoken, and it's interesting to hear his views on this subject.
Self-appointed commissioner of tennis feels he needs to weigh in on the Serena Williams-Dominic Thiem controversy. This ridiculous incident has been blown way out of proportion. But it also gives me an opportunity to show how easy it is to engineer fake news and manipulate people's opinions. Fact: Dominic Thiem was kicked out of the main press room in the middle of his media duties to make way for Serena Williams. Fact: Thiem was less than pleased about it. I mean, what the hell?
It's a joke, really. I have to leave the room because she's coming.
Very good, very good. With these two facts, the social media public court was quick to deliver a verdict. How can she do that? Does she have no shame? Who does she think she is? It was not only the usual hateful trolls who voiced their discontent. In fact, the mainstream media started to weigh in on it. See, there is something on the internet, and they immediately start to report on it and voice an opinion. Yes, an opinion! Whatever happened to the fundamental rule of journalism? 3 independent sources confirm the fact, and then, only then, can you report on it. But here's the problem. They didn't have all their facts straight. Little known but true fact. Serena Williams had actually asked for a smaller room so that she could be done with it. But somehow the organizers insisted she hold the press conference in the main room, where Thiem was at the time. A smaller room was available, because that's where Thiem ended up. When Serena was made aware that they had to move the Austrian to make room for her, she was heard saying,
Whoa, that's rude.
Yes, it was. See, this is not a tiny detail. It changes the whole story. Serena's not a diva who can't wait 2 minutes. She's the victim of a screw-up of the organization. And so is Thiem. I know a lot of journalists who should eat a good slice of humble pie after this one. Reporting quickly can make you look so well informed and look so smart. It can also make you look like real jerks. As for me, I'm not a real journalist, so I don't have to check my facts. I can basically say whatever the hell I want.
Now it's funny to hear John talk about fake news. I'm hoping I'm not giving fake news here. At least I'm trying not to. I'm just giving my own opinion and my own reaction to what's happened to the news that I received. Now hearing these news, actually, you know what? Now I'm starting to feel a little bit swayed. And actually it's interesting because John McEnroe, he's never really had a really like friendly relationship, I guess, with Serena Williams. There was that time where Serena and Venus said that they would be in the top 200 if they played in a men's game, and John McEnroe openly criticized them. He said that even John would be able to beat them, and even recently he mentioned in his interviews that some of his junior players in his academy would be able to beat her. So there was always a little bit of that tension between them. So you know, now hearing him speak about her and defending her in this way actually makes me think there's more to this story. It makes me think that perhaps, you know, even if he's reporting on this and he's talking about her being the victim in the situation, it makes me feel like actually there could be some truth in it, because if there wasn't, I'm sure he'd be one of the first people to condemn her and actually get on the bandwagon and say, look, you know what, this is not right, that, you know, the way she's treated Dominic Thiem. So interesting to see that new revelations, news coming through, and the fact that perhaps she wasn't to blame. But do you think she could have done more? Do you think the same thing would have happened had it been Roger Federer or Rafael Nadal or Novak Djokovic on the other side? Do you think they would have still gone into that room and replaced the player inside that room? I really don't think it would. Perhaps that's just not the situation that occurred. We don't know. It'd be interesting to hear from Serena and what she has to say on the subject to really set the matter straight. So guys, let me know what you think. Leave a comment under the video and let me know, do you think that Serena was in the wrong with the current news that have come in? Do you think that actually, now thinking about it, maybe she wasn't to blame? Do you think, had it been Roger Federer or Rafael Nadal or Novak Djokovic in that room, do you think they would have come in and replaced that player? I really don't think so. But let me know what you think. I do read all your comments. Do press the like button. It helps our videos grow. Share it with your friends, and of course press the subscribe button, including that little bell next to it, so that you get notifications every time we release a new video. Anyhow, I'll see you soon with more tennis videos and tennis news.